Good day guys, my name is Kafutainmentz and today guys, I will be teaching you about goal settings. Before I get into it, right, I just want to let you know, like, some may ask the question, what is a goal, right? A goal is simply an objective that someone is trying to reach or achieve. In some instances, a goal would have limits. So in other words, you would set a goal, you would work towards a goal, and then you would achieve a goal. I'll give an example of something that is not a goal. Let's say a guy who leaves his home and he wants to make, let's say he just going to get $100. That is his goal. He just going to get $100. Now, for example, some may say that is a goal, but the thing about it is too broad and not specific. A perfect example of a goal is that I am going out today, I'm going to work today, and one of my goals is to achieve $100. That is a short-term goal because I sell donuts, that is my job, and that is a realistic goal. So, it will entail like different stuff where, we will get into further on into. What are the different types of goals? These different types of goals, they are long-term goals, they are short-term goals, they are progressive goals. These are the main types of goals you'll be looking at. So the progressive, let's have the long-term goal. The long-term goal is the goal that is going to last for a longer duration. In terms, this could range from months to years, or you could say 2 to 5 years, you could say. Short-term goal can range from like weeks or months, and the progressive goals can be broken down into specific days. So let's say you have a long-term goal. You'll be breaking that into progressive goals, right? Which will be like a concrete plan where you can use it by shorter goals. So you would, let's say the goal is to achieve Dean's List in the University of the West Indies in the engineering faculty. You would need to take it day by day, ensuring that every day you wake up, you do specific things. Those will be smaller goals which will be easier to achieve, so that way the progressive goals can be used to attack not only the long-term goals but shorter term goals as well too. So why goals should be broken down into smaller increments, especially when it comes to using the goal gradient hypothesis. So as I was saying earlier, right, when you have a longer goal, a long-term goal where it takes you, I say, a year to achieve, 2 years to achieve. Whatever is a diploma you're doing. Let's say a student is doing a diploma in health and food safety at the EKF campus, University of Trinidad and Tobago. What is important is for that student to break down his goals into smaller increments, because in this theory, the further the goal is, the less motivated this person is, compared to the closer the goal is, the more motivated they are. And when you look at sports psychology, it is a natural state for us to be more motivated when things are getting closer. For example, let's say a student who now started their bachelor's degree in kinesiology. The student versus the student who is finishing their degree in kinesiology, right? When you compare those two students, what will happen is they will have one student who is more motivated because he is in that final burst where he realizes, listen, all I need to do is finish these courses and boom, I'm getting this degree, versus the student who now started the program. Yes, he will be motivated, but his motivation wouldn't be giant or as high as the student who is close to finishing their degree. Another way we can look at it is that when it comes to students planning these goals, right, using progressive goals, is that when a student or a person is getting small, let's say a student decided to say, listen, I want to graduate with my diploma in health and food safety. What is important for that student is to write down these goals in small increments where they develop a concrete plan of progressive goals where they could list things what they are going to do in terms of short-term goals. So their goal is to achieve their diploma. What is important for them is to study 3 to 5 times a week. After class time, another thing they could do is that ensure that they get sufficient rest, sufficient sleep. Another thing they could add to that list is that they can make sure that they get up earlier so they can have more time during the day. Now, these are just 3. It could range from 3 to 7, 3 to 5. But these things, these progressive goals, these are little smaller goals that a person can achieve. And what it does to somebody in the prefrontal cortex, that is the frontal part of the brain, is that it really starts to gear that logical part of our mind. When we start to achieve goals, it continues to give us that dopamine hit where we keep seeing victories when we are setting our goals out. It's important for when you have a long-term goal, when using this gradient hypothesis theory, is that to see yourself achieving smaller goals, getting smaller victories upon the way of achieving your longer-term goal. This will not only negate the factor of you getting bored on your journey towards your goal, but it also motivates you as your brain starts to develop this as a habit than rather a task. Oh, I have to go and do this. Then when you keep doing something over time, it will become, you don't have to think about it. It's like driving, you know. So this is literally an important factor when it comes to setting goals. So why SMART goals are important to the term of the effect on motivation, right? And in terms of focus, is because, as I said earlier, SMART goals are specific goals, measurable goals, attainable goals, relevant goals, and time, you know, done in a timely manner. These, or time bound, these goals, it is easier because, you know, the way our mind works is that we're not gonna be like, when you look at, like, for example, let's use a relationship, right? You get in a relationship with somebody, the goal is marriage, right? So when it comes to marriage, you know, all these wonderful things, living together, owning your home, building a family and stuff, what is important is that to take yourself away from that goal, not take yourself completely, but devise a plan where you can use goals as a stepping stone to reach upon that long-term goal. So you wouldn't make a list of progressive goals. For example, you know, every once a week, you could say, in that probably once a day, at the end of the day, you can, you know, pray twice, morning and afternoon. Another goal you could do is that you can list 3 grateful things at why you are grateful in a relationship. List the good and the bad and things like that. Set these smaller goals where you could see that, okay, if this occurs, you could also set a goals that conflict resolution, that you're not going to complain and you're going to communicate healthier. Even though something gets you mad, you're going to communicate how you feel, but same time too, not in an aggressive manner. Those things are going to get you to the point where eventually, when you achieve that goal of marriage, is all these little steps, you know, than just set a long-term goal and we're just going to achieve it. No, it doesn't work like that. We need to have a specific outline of like things where we are going to do to achieve that. And lastly, what are process goals and why it should be broken? Why should long-term goals be broken into process goals? As I said earlier, it is important because long-term goals could be very, very, very demoralizing. If you set big goals, it is important for you to realize that how our mind works as human beings, right, is that we need to break down stuff. Like if we are doing for example, a course I recently did was biomechanics. When I was finishing my degree, my first degree, I noticed that it was important for me to realize that, okay, this is one of the courses that are difficult and I had to break it down into smaller goals, progress goals. Progress goals is going to be the goals that help you achieve those longer term goals. And I could say it for like a big example. I actually done it not only with biomechanics, but also when it comes to cricket. You know, last year I went away Canada and I was playing with a really strong team. Matter of fact, I got 3 games out of the 6, which I was glad and grateful for. Only batted once, but before I arrived and got selected on that team, there were a lot of things I used to do behind the closed door, even before I learned the term of progressive goal. What I did was I decided to say, listen, I want to make this team, and I set out, these were goals, these were unspoken things that I decided to say, well, listen, this unwritten rules. I decided to say, listen, I need to train 3 to 5 times a week, and I need to run at least 2 times a week. And I'm talking about a 5K. I used to run at the center 5K. I started at 45 minutes, then I dropped to 43 minutes, then I dropped to 35, and I used to be like just over half an hour. And don't mind you, it wasn't, you know, the time got better, but it wasn't me pushing myself in terms of the time. It was me just deciding to develop my conditioning. You know, when we went across there, the conditions was difficult. And I was able to not only went across there and play cricket, but to play cricket at a effective level. We had back-to-back games, and that was something I never did before. But our bodies was sore after the games, after the day, and what that taught me was like, always be ready. You could set a long-term goal, but listen, when you reach that point where you need to achieve your goal, you need to set out these things where like this progressive goals would give you what you need to achieve those goals. So my name is Kafutainmentz. This is my experience. This is me teaching you. This is what I've learned about progressive goals, long-term goals, and regarding to goal settings. Hope you enjoy your day. Have a blessed one. Thank you.